welcome to Life and Style.
Thank you.
You're welcome, right?
Good.
How is it for you? It's the festive season. How has it been for you?
Been great. Enjoying ourselves.
Everybody's trying to think about how has it been. Now, we are on the mandate segment. We want to talk about how, partners and your partners at work and you're married at home. So we've got two couples over here. I will start right from the end for the introduction.
My name is Tabitha Ogango.
Right.
Yes. Married to Kingston.
Okay.
I'm Kingston Ogango.
Yeah. But what do you do together?
Well, first of all, we live together.
All right.
But we run a couple of businesses. More prominently, we run a school together.
Okay.
Though she's the boss, I'm the follower.
All right.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that. Talk about your school a bit.
Okay. We run Gifted Hands School.
Yes.
We run on the Accelerated Christian Education curriculum, which
Those are
is
SCE.
individualized.
Right.
It's American. We believe in developing the whole person,
Okay.
by not just focusing on the academics, but also identifying their gifts and talents early and nurturing them.
Okay.
Yes.
Where are you?
We are located in Lavington,
Lavington.
off Convent Drive,
Okay.
on Langalani Drive.
If somebody wanted to get their children over there, how would they?
We are on, our website.
Okay.
You can get us there, giftedhands.ac.ke.
All right.
And then there's a search engine that will get to me.
Okay. There we come, right here.
My name is Josephine Jericho. I am a telecoms engineer.
All right.
My name is Francis Jericho, also a telecoms engineer. She's my roommate. We are living together.
Do you work together?
We do work together. We sit in the same office. We sit in the same car. So we go for lunch together. We eat dinner together. We take breakfast together. So
How is it? How is that? You're living with somebody in the same house. You're driving to the same office. You're always with them. You want to stay in a place of a romantic relationship, and then you have to make business decisions together, and sometimes you're thinking very differently. How is that for you?
it's quite very interesting, and it's exciting to know that you are in a position at any time to consult. It's easier to consult, and when you look at it from the home side and the business side, we have a clear transition from home to business and from business to home.
What is that transition?
The car ride.
The car ride. Yeah, because when we leave home, we have left home. So the transition comes in handy when we use the car to drive, because we tried using two cars, it didn't work.
When did you start working together, or have you worked together all through?
I think we have almost worked together all through, even
If I may
where
ask, how long are you married now?
23 years now,
And you've worked together for?
almost 23 years.
Good Lord. Kingston, is there a challenge? You're at home. This is somebody you love.
Yeah.
Then you're going to work.
Yeah.
Then sometimes you've got these difficult decisions that you need to make.
Yeah.
Does that affect you?
Not quite. I think the dichotomy sometimes is where the challenge is. But if you recognize the fact that you're together in these decisions, whether you make it or it collapses, you collapse together or you stand together.
Nobody will say, I did support that decision.
Well, you see, there's initial times when you're newly married and you're trying to get your footing on how you relate. And once you hit that equilibrium and you recognize that she's a part of you, and so whatever decision impacts her and impacts you equally. So there's nothing then that becomes too difficult to come and share. It is everything that you need to put on the table.
Okay.
If there's difficult decisions, put them on the table. One thing that we've recognized that we don't have to have answers for everything.
All right.
But we acknowledge the issues that are on the table.
Okay.
And then navigate together to try and solve those issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tabitha, you're his boss at work. How does that play when you go back home? You got to switch now. He's going to
As
be
in,
the
you have
leader.
taken his word. But anyway, let's put it this way. I mean, because we've run different sets of businesses, and I'm an educator by profession. So when we are in the school, we kind of agree that should there be a place where we can't agree, then my word will carry the day, and that's fine. So that's why you hear him saying she's the boss, but it's not quite like that. It's that in everything we try to come to an agreement, you know, of this is where we are going, then we go together. And I know why you're asking that, because you're thinking, okay, but she's the head.
Yes, so
the head cannot listen to. I don't know what you think.
When do you switch to be the lead, and then when does he switch to be the lead?
I think it just takes listening, you know, hearing one another, because sometimes it's not so much this is my decision or this is my idea, but as we discuss, this is what we want to do, this is where we want to go. Sometimes it's not even easy to tell, so whose idea was that?
Okay.
Because the other person listens and oh, it's a good idea, and jumps in and takes the lead.
Right.
You know, it only becomes an issue when you're not agreeing, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you, Josephine, how do you protect yourself from, I'm thinking if I'm working with my wife and I've got certain decisions, probably when it comes to workers, I'm thinking, I can't work with this worker. And then that is probably my spouse's favorite worker. How do you handle that without it putting pressure on when you're getting home, so you're not talking because you disagreed about whether to fire or to hire somebody?
But I think for us it's worked out very well that we have administrators and we have HR, so that's their decision.
So you avoid that.
Yeah, it's not either of ours to make. Yeah, but of course we also do. He does something really strange. He works with the youth in church, with the young professionals. So we are the patrons in our church. So he keeps bringing in interns, and sometimes totally not technical people. We run a technical company. So he comes and says, there's this lady on Sunday she was sharing, and I think we need to help her. Or this guy, she has nothing he's doing and all. And I'm thinking, so where do we fit them? They're not technical. Where do they go? But he is very clever, because he keeps saying, maybe they could sit at the monitoring and just learn what we are doing. So for me, I've learned that he uses the company also, and I've now plugged in to use the company also as a mentoring platform.
Okay.
Yeah, for the youth. So even when they are not related to what we do technically, we still bring them in and we work with them, and they're able to plug into their different industries.
But what do you do when workers, or do you deal with that when workers do prefer one to the other, they try to manipulate their way? Like if they want a certain decision, then they think, for example, like now the young people, so they think, okay, maybe Josephine will be a bit tough, so let's go to Francis and try and get this over decisions you've got to make. Francis, how do you go about that?
I think what is very great for us in managing the situation is because we consult a lot. We don't hide things from each other. And I think that's what marriage is all about, is vulnerability to one another, and be able to communicate, and communicate clearly. You know, communicating is not the number of words, but the clarity of your communication is what is very critical here. So when we see that, we all sit down and say, have you seen what is going on there? Then she will say, oh yeah, I think I've seen that. We have to decide on something on that. So we don't go and decide, and then one person doesn't go and decide and comes to tell the other person. But we get each of us involved in the whole process. So manipulation doesn't come in much. When we see it, we straight away recognize it, because we have children. So how we do with the children in the home, the same thing we transfer to the office. So when they are doing it, we straight away know there's something there that they want to use or take advantage of to their profit.
What about this instinctive on the spot? You just felt like I needed to do this. Do we have to consult about everything? And yet sometimes you feel like, my God, this is such a light bulb moment for me, and I may not even have the time to explain to the other person, or if I do, they will not get it. Does that mean I should shelve my idea? I like the laughter coming from that side, because, yeah.
I think one of the things is to remember that the business is, we're not running a paramedics organization. There's nothing that will go so badly wrong if we took an extra half an hour, an extra hour. So we always want to say we can talk, and we talk so much. Sometimes I can't remember how many times she called me and how many times I called her, because we say we are a phone call away, we're a text away. So if you have something, just bounce it off me. More often than not, she might say, just go ahead and do it.
Okay.
But it helps in looking at the other side I may not have seen, because it might look very nice, it's the right thing to do. Let's just, what if? And we've always recognized when there's what if, it's a moment to pause.
To pose. Because I've met several people who would feel, you know, somebody feels, I always have these ideas, but my wife or my husband is not supporting my ideas. So you say that if the other person raises a what if, then it's time to pause.
I mean, I think there are two ways around it, okay, because of course you're communicating all the time. Unlike the Jiracos, we don't sit in the same space.
Okay.
And you know, there are times maybe there's something that needs to be done and I want to get Kingston and he's on air or whatever. There's also that leeway that I will trust your decision.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that understanding that because we've talked a lot about things and because we will not see things the same way all the time. I mean, if King comes and I have made a decision, again, it can't be that bad. I mean, it wouldn't be a point of, we wouldn't split hairs too much because, again, it's a matter of saying, oh, that's what you thought, you know, yeah.
But you grow into that place, right?
You grow into that
into
place.
place.
Initially, it can be a point of a lot of conflict, but
conflict.
eventually you realize, you know, sometimes there's not one answer to everything. I mean, there are different ways to get around something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about financial decisions at work, then you're balancing that at home. Especially now with things like, you know, I'm a visionary. I may be just putting in a bit too much into this dream, this business that I have, and it putting it weight back at home. Talk about that. The management of finances as you do business together or you're working together, then you're still married. Yeah.
I think for us, in the business is totally separate from the home. As we said, we make a transition in the car. So business finances are we don't handle it. Okay, we sign the checks because we are the owners of the business. We like look at the budget and things like that and approve it, but the finance department does that. So as far as
If I was running a small business and I still don't have accountants,
Yes.
I don't have all these other people, how do I manage that?
no, even I was just going to say that, but still, as far as where do we take them, like invest the money, and sometimes we need some tools, and we need to buy vehicles and things like that, and we sit down and maybe I'm thinking Pro Box because it's only 700, and he's thinking, no,
I
we
like
need a
how
double
you
cab. We sit down and he gives a point, why do we need a double cab and why do we need a Pro Box? And we get to a place where we agree and say, okay, since you're so convinced it's a double cab that will help us, let's go for it. And once we've made the decision, all of us rally behind that decision.
If somebody has a spouse that they feel doesn't make good decisions, but they're already co-directors in a company, how are they supposed to handle that if they feel this one always overspends, overdraws money, is handling workers in a bad way or something? So how do they navigate through that?
You put it on the table.
I think to take it from
Do you
there.
sack your spouse?
I think to take it from there, we said it right that it's a process. Working together for the last 22, 23 years, have to bring out some characteristics of management, accountability, trust, and integrity. And out of these 23 years we have worked together, some of them we worked as employees.
Yes.
Okay.
Buy one, get one free. You know, in the same company, they employed one of us, and they said, oh, I think they are a team, so let's get the other person on board. So you get the other person on. So it has become like two previous companies we worked with. They took one of us, and then they added the other. So that's why I always say you buy one and get one free.
Okay.
But they paid us the salaries that were due to us. But when we started our company now in 2004, we said we have to treat it differently in terms of management, accountability, and all that. And you have to grow into that. Because how do you come to that running a business? I've sat with very young people, so many young people, and they want to run a business where they don't pay themselves salaries. So they do a budget and say, okay, this is the profit at the end of the day. So when the profit comes, they eat the money. But they've forgotten that that money doesn't belong to them fully. Right. They need to plant a seed back into the company to bring it up. So that's where the challenge has been, where when you start a company and you don't pay yourself a salary, you take anything at all that remains there. So you become a vast spender. You use it at will without thinking of growing the company to a level where it's supposed to be.
Is there usually the need, if you're working, like Kingston now, your wife is running the school,
Yes.
and then she's facing either difficult workers or certain people. Does the man thing rise in you, like you need to fix that, or do you just feel you will trust her to deal with it?
No, I think because what we're doing is we're running a business. We're not self-employed. So we have systems, processes, and structures. And so if it's a decision in her place to make the decision, allow her to make the decision. Even though I might just give an input from the back and say, perhaps you could think about this or the other, without feeling that she will make a wrong decision simply because I am the man who should have made the decision.
So what if, she's running, okay, she's a director of a school, so she has this teacher
Yes.
who seems not to listen to her,
Yes.
giving her a headache.
Yes.
And sometimes you can even pick it up that this is because she's a lady.
Yeah.
Does the thing of, the husband thing
Yes.
rise in and you
That-
feel
that-
like, I need to fix that thing?
That comes in, but again now, I put on my hat as the director rather than the husband. Yes, so I use my authority as the director in this case and put my foot down and say, you know what, we need to check this behavior because we have a relationship that is going. And the reason why she's heading that particular enterprise is I respect her as a woman and also as a professional, not necessarily just as a... And so if somebody is trying to look down on her, we say, no, that is not acceptable because it's not one of our values and it's not the way we do things. And so I go back all the time to remember this is a business. We are not at home.
So you're doing a lot of empowering for her,
Yes.
her position,
Yeah.
which is, because I out-battled with that. Yeah, we pioneered ministry,
Yes.
and then my wife does most of the administrative work. So sometimes when she wants something to get me done,
Yeah.
she say, Pastor said. So sometimes I'll tell her in the car, don't use my name. I want them to get used to hearing your voice.
Yes.
I want them to respect you for who you are, so that you don't have to use my name. Do you think that sometimes that can really bring a compromise where somebody feels, I'm not being respected in this place, so I need to get out? Not that I'm not talking, my wife is not being disrespected, but certain times, and especially with ladies because they deal with a lot of emotional issues. A lady may not be as tough as Tabby is or strong, so she's just feeling like, you know what, go ahead and run that company because I'm tired of dealing with these people. They're not listening, they're not working, they're not coming in time. Yeah.
I think in our case it's the other way around. I think sometimes Francis feels,
He wants to get out of that.
yeah, I just want to get out of this. I feel that because in our business, I do the technical. Okay, he's the CEO, and I do all the technical work. It's dealing with these people, running around with them on the field, seeing what they need and all that. And many times because I understand what they go through, I always say, these guys have gone through the wall for us. I mean, there would be no Elris without them. So sometimes I lower the standards and I'm like, I let them get away with some things, and he is trying to maintain the standards of the company, the strictness, the health and safety and everything. So sometimes I because of that compromise, I end up clashing with the administrator or the HR and things like that. And he sometimes say, if you go on like that, you're going to collapse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how you didn't start with running a business together, or did you?
No.
We
You
didn't. We
You were
first
working
worked together. I mean, we worked in different places.
Okay.
But we muted this idea when we were courting.
All right.
And we even wrote down and said, within this period of time, we need to run a business.
Okay.
And we actually run a number of businesses under the Gifted Hands umbrella. And so the first one was the design company, and I was spearheading it. Well, she was just the director. And then that took a little, went to the back burner a bit.
Okay.
And then we brought up the school because the opportunity was there. So it's been a growing phase.
All right.
And we think that phase where we worked elsewhere also shaped us, because we worked in teams, worked in structures. And so we brought a lot of that also into the business so that we knew how to run the business.
I was asking that because I want to ask, comparing working apart
Yes.
and working together,
Yeah.
which one do you think, in your own view, which one do you think is good,
I think working together is fantastic. It's good.
Yeah.
But I cannot tell you that it is not easy. It is hard and it's difficult. It's painful sometimes because you take on a lot of the weight of the organization, the challenges of the organization. When you're working somewhere else, you deliver on what you've been given to, and then you get out. So there's a lot of weight, but what is the end product is the satisfaction, being happy that we actually have accomplished what we wanted to do. But it's not easy.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
Would you advise young couples to go your way?
For me, I think it starts from a stage, and if you can see what is going on in our, I'm not straight to the answer. I can advise them, yes, to go that way, but when I backdrop it a bit to a point where do they start? If you have never been friends, you can never sit at the same table to do anything.
All right.
So friendship is not only when you are courting or dating, it should be part of your marriage and the marriage process. Because it's only friends who are able to communicate. It's only friends who bear the weight of each other and all that. Because even the Bible says friends are more closer than at all times. Yeah. See, so we have to know that we have to be friends first.
Right.
Before we even talk about any other thing. That's why even the Bible God calls us what? Come, my friends. He didn't say come, my brothers and my siblings.
All right.
Yeah.
So I just want to pick out the takeaways. I want to pick out the advantages of working together. You will say it is good. You say it's not easy, but it is good.
Yeah.
I know for me the advantage is that then I don't have to really. Sometimes people ask, how do you balance between work and family? And I find that a working family becomes the balance.
Yes.
Because somehow, even when we're working, then we're spending a bit more time together. I know that is a benefit. Are there any other benefits as we wind up?
Well, I think for us as a family, our entire family, the kids and us, we've had an opportunity to launch them out to, when you're teaching kids how to work with people, how to relate with people, they've seen that through the bigger company family, because every time we had family functions, company functions, the children were involved because we did family.
Okay.
And our kids easily learned to relate.
All right.
They easily grew up as teenagers who would take responsibility and do things for themselves.
Okay.
And so for us, it's been a great journey that if we didn't have any other family to deal with church or anything, we had this company family.
You had a company family.
Yes.
Would you say, in closing, Kingston, would you say that one chases 1,000 and two 10,000 in the case of business?
Yes, it is. Because we have also seen, even us now, our son is coming into the business.
Okay.
And they are involved. It becomes part of them.
All right.
And so it becomes stronger because the pains we have, we share them together. We know the challenges together. When we are praying, we have a concerted effort towards that prayer, I think. And that prayer then becomes part of us. It's not something somebody first out there, so you're trying to understand, so what happened, We are all together in it. And therefore, that gives us strength to be together, to pray together, walk through the season together, and come out stronger on the other end.
All right. Thank you so much. You've got to make the decision whether you want to work together as a couple. According to Francis and according to Kingston, it's a very good thing for you to do that. Well, I have the benefits of it. We work together. I know there's some challenges sometimes where you want to go one direction and then, as Kingston said, let the other person make the decision. But it's such a great, great, great benefit that you talk about everything. So you don't have to ask, how was work today? Because you're working together. And you build your friendship through work, and you build your work through friendship. Keep the conversation going with us. Remember, the hashtag is KTN Life and Style. We take a short break, then we get back on Listen Man.